welcome back. So the next thing that I shall talk to you about is read. Thus far, we have used read before without any sort of problems whatsoever, but we have only used it to read in certain variables. We haven't actually used any of the more advanced options. And by that, look, if I just open up the man pages for read, they're humongous. I mean, look at how far must we go. Oh man. Yep, there we go. So there are a lot of options that can be passed to read, and these are just some of them. So what it is that we are doing here? Well, we're not actually reading in what the user is typing. For example, if a user is typing in some sort of a string or something like that, but rather instead, in this particular example, we are going to actually record the keystrokes of a user. So there are 4 here as an example. Later on, maybe we can make like a whole keylogger for the whole keyboard. It would be pretty stupid to do it in Bash, but oh well. So the first one, the -s, is basically the option that doesn't echo the input, and the second one, it says option accepts only and only 3 characters for input. This can be pretty much any number. You can change it to something else. I don't know, but in this particular case, it will accept only three characters. If you would like it to accept more than 3 characters, well, yeah, change it then. -p option, it echoes up the prompt before reading the input. So you remember how we usually used to place a echo command above read to state what the user should input? Well, here we're actually creating that prompt with -p, and press an arrow key will be the prompt for the user, and the arrow will be that variable into which the input of the user will be stored. And down below we have a case, so standard case, a variable here, and then these values. What are these values? Well, up here we seem to have them, and we seem to have these strange looking values that are assigned to these variables. What is this? I mean, there's like a $, quotation mark, escape chart. What? Well, variable, the first one is the up arrow. It contains the key code for recognizing the up arrow key on your keyboard. Second one is the down key, and then left and then right. So these are just the key codes for basically the buttons on the keyboard. That's all that they represent. Anyway, down below it says up. If I pressed up, if I press down, if I press left, and if I press right, it will actually tell me what I've pressed. So let's go ahead and take a look. Let's run it. So press an arrow key. Let's press up. You pressed up. Let's run it again. You pressed right. Let's run it again. You pressed left. You pressed down. There we go. It seems to work rather well. All is remembered and all is printed out. Okay, so let me just go ahead and delete this because I don't think I'm going to need it for the time being. There is a simpler script which I wanted to show to you for read, because this is something that you will use actually quite often. So you have, for example, let's say echo and echo enter a string. So we're going to go back to the old-fashioned way. We shall type in read var, and then echo var. Okay, so this you know, right? It should just read in the variable and then print it out onto the screen. Oops. Test, but I would like to include / in test. What is this? We are actually missing a single /. Why? Well, / is an escape char, and it's going to be treated as such. So I've typed in an escape char in order to print a /. But if I want to read the input of the user as is, I would just need to pass another argument to read. Insert There we go. Enter a string, and now we shall type in test \\, and you can see now they are actually taken into consideration. No problems there. If you would like a particular argument for read, as I said, just go to the command pages. There are quite a bit of them, so feel free to take a look at the one suited for you for a particular situation. And now we shall read from a file. Let me just see what files do we have. Wood, cat, wood, tralala. Okay, let's do this. Just create more than one line in this code. Test. Okay, there we go. You can put in whatever you want. It's completely irrelevant that I'm putting test 111, test 222, etc. Okay, so now let's type in, we don't actually need echo, or we can. Echo read, just leave it at read. And now we shall make a while loop that we will, and in such a way we will actually utilize the read command in order to read the entire contents of a particular file into a variable and then output that variable onto the screen. So because it has more than one line, we need to do it like this. So echo while, and here you will see something new about the while loop. So read, and I don't know, let's put the variable line. So you remember how we were able to put these things before? So just while read line, this is basically the condition. And now we shall go ahead, let's just name it var or something like that. I don't know. Do, because maybe a line can confuse you, then as it can be pretty much anything you want it to be. Okay, so let's go ahead and type in echo and $, var. Great. And at the end, we will use a redirect, wood.txt. Looks weird, I know, but see what happens. There we go. It outputs read, and then it reads in the whole file into a variable, and then that variable is printed out on to the screen. This is a very common example of what it is that is being done with files, because usually you need to read in some sort of a file into a variable so that you can actually process the output, or you would like to do some work with it, or you simply need a certain file. Like for example, later on when we get to the proc and dev file systems, you will see that certain values need to be extracted from files in order to be utilized elsewhere, or certain values from the files can be used as conditions for something else, etc. This shall be explained a bit later on. For the time being, I'm going to call it here, and we will return in the follow-up tutorial.